Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Before we get started, I'd actually like to introduce you to a new platform that's currently being built, in the process of being built, called Worldie. Later this week, I am going to have the founder and CEO of this platform on to walk you through it and let her tell you about her plans and goals for the future of this platform, which I think you guys are going to really love, especially all of you that are looking for a place to go where there's no censorship, where somebody respects your feedback, values your opinions and views, that wants to give you a place where you can express yourself. As of now, this is where I'm slowly moving my stuff over to as well. But I look forward to having Christina Taft on this later this week and let her walk you guys through, discuss more about this, because, me personally, I'm sick and tired of Twitter, Facebook, all of them. I'm tired of always being censored or worried about when I drop a video or upload a video that I'm going to be censored, or because I said the F bomb, Top Buzz is going to reject my video. Or when I talk about things that I've been talking about here late, with the child trafficking, education systems, state of our school systems, seems to get covered up or pushed all the way at the bottom of the feeds, or just downright shadow banned. These are the things as this website grows and as they develop, because they're still in the process of developing, you won't have that. It's already got some awesome features that I'm enjoying, with many more to come. I've had in conversation with Christina about the things that they're developing. Like all things, it takes time. You know, I know the painstaking reality of building websites and social platforms takes money and time, but I like everything that she's done and working with people, taking everybody's feedback and relaying it to the developers. So this is something I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to later this week having her on and letting her explain the site and platform and all its potential, because it has tons of potential. It's something that I'm wanting to get behind and back, because I tell you guys, I'm always about the mom and pop stores, and I am. But sometimes I think we lose interpretation there. We think when I speak mom and pop, we think older people. It's our young entrepreneurs, because in a sense, a mom and pop store is entrepreneurs building businesses, building something to give back to the communities. And I see that with this platform. And I just wanted to take a little time to introduce you to it. If you guys want to check it out, the link's in the description. Do bear in mind it's still under development. They're still working on some bugs, adding new things. But like I said, Christina, she's on here. You can go to her profile. You can give her your feedback, things that you see need fixed, or something's not working. She'll listen and relay your information with the developer. That's something I enjoy. Enjoy a lot, being able to find somebody that cares about what we think or what we want to see on a platform. That's important. That's something all these other major corporations have forgotten along the way. I hope I'm coming in good. Like I said, I didn't say, but I currently using a new mic system, so. But I did want to showcase. Hey, Tacky, long time no see. I guess I am coming in good. I just now heard my own voice in the background. Yes, it is very. It's a gaming headset. Much better than the Bluetooths I've been using. So let's get on to tonight's show. Actually, let me share this couple links since I just jumped into chat. Just started chatting. Forgot to share the links. Alrighty, with that done, let me stop sharing screens real quick. Since I'm having issues with my file folders on this computer, you guys will just have to bear with my ugly mug tonight. What is reality? Like I said, we're gonna go down some rabbit holes tonight, talk about a few things, from 5G to something I came across earlier this week. or a couple weeks ago actually, that I've been wanting to talk about. Just we know how it is. Something comes up to get your attention that needs to be talked about, and we jump to those things, and sometimes put other things on the back burner. I stumbled across an article in the Drudge Report, which I know is not really something I talk about on this channel much, but it connects with the 5G, the internet, and some of the things I'm going to be talking tonight about. You don't normally get into religious stuff or theories and whatnots and what ifs, but there was an article about from one of the head exorcists from the Vatican, and he was talking about with the technology this in this day and age, how much people are taking in, how much they're bombarded with, that possessions are at the highest they've ever seen it, to the point where he himself is doing 3 to 5 exorcisms a day, 7 days a week, and they don't have enough exorcists. You know, you've heard me talk about on this channel before exactly what you're staring into, a black mirror. You've heard me talk about frequencies and vibrations. You've heard me talk about indoctrination, psychological programming, and warfare. Many of these aspects fall in this realm that seems to be taboo for a lot of people. Some for not understanding exactly what's going on. I mean, there's even scientific documented cases such as the mesmer effect dealing with lights. Same thing applies when we're dealing with high-end graphics, from the pixelation clear down to understanding what a meme is or an emoji. Funny they call it emoji. All these things correlate into your mind. You know, I've talked about weeks past about how much you actually take in, how much you actually see. Give me a second while these dogs are going off for no reason. As I thought, barking at nothing. But as I was saying, you know, we are delving into an area when we're starting to deal with technology that it has got so advanced. You know, this is going to be one of those conversations where keep an open mind. You know, understand that there's all kinds of things out there that we don't fully understand or recognize. But we also have to look at what we're seeing around the world today. Here in our own country, I think it was Christina Taft, while we're joking, retweeted a tweet about a college student being kicked out of college because people said they said some racist things, or the exact wording was felt feeling that they were racist. How can you go off feeling Where's the proof in feeling? I mean, we live in a day and age where everything's so PC. It's actually, we're beyond PC right now. Political correct, that was, wow, it was mild compared to what we're seeing today. People so easily triggered, offended. Why is that? Well, let's look at some of the things I just mentioned. So many people spend hours and hours on these social media platforms, staring at the images. Even in colleges now, in schools, you gotta have an iPad as part of your textbooks. They're so in tuned to those things. Now, there's been people out there that showed if you take an EMF meter to your cell phone, even when it's powered off, it's radiating at 5. But once you turn it on, it jumps to like 30, 40, 50, which is way off the charts. And there's scientific study how the effects of EMF. EMF is electrical magnetic fields. How it can cause you to hallucinate, alter your mind and perceptions. But the interesting thing is they did it around a router. And this is not, mind you, not 5G, not even fiber optic cabling. Just your normal, what we use, most of us use every day. And the reading was astounding. It was reading in the 70s to 90s. You're being bombarded with that much energy, that much frequency. Those that know how to manipulate such things know how to control people by manipulating energies and frequencies and vibrations. And if you look at everything, how easy it is. People see an image, they're triggered. They hear a word, they're triggered. You know, there's a danger there because that's psychological. Why are you allowing yourself to trigger? Better yet, why are you allowing somebody else to have control and power over you? Why are you allowing your internet to have control and power over you? You know, as far as the exorcism thing goes, you know, I have my own beliefs in that department, as do many actually. But you also have people that don't believe in it. But some of those people believe in, you know, the psychological warfare, the brainwashing. You know, it's still a form of possession. No matter how you look at it, you're giving something control over you. You're allowing something to manipulate you. Why is that? I mean, there's other contributing factors, but it's like a lot of these younger people today, even some of the older ones now, they're living in a reality that is so filled with illusion that it's become a fantasy. You know, oh, I need a safe space. Here, I'm gonna zip myself up in this little plastic bubble, box, cube, whatever. This is my safe space. Really? That's not reality. Because the reality, that's not safe. I mean, it's not gonna protect you from anything. Sound still travels through it. You can push it, knock you over, get to you. Where's the reality in that? But hey, they think that's their protective little space. There's something wrong with that on a psychological level. You know, I've spent hours talking about. Yeah, I guess that helped if I turn that back on. I've spent hours and hours. I mean, I've got like 200, just to be a 226 video I've done talking about these things, about giving things power over you. Now, it's easy to create a boogeyman, but then again, there's another false reality. Because you want to know what the real boogeyman is? Yourself. For allowing yourself to believe in a word, to give that word power over you. You know, like I stated, change doesn't start everywhere else. It needs to start with you first. You need to start realizing that there's an importance to questioning. There's an importance to opinions and views, whether they go against yours. They're meant to make you question things, to protect you, so you don't create these false realities, these illusions, so you don't live a lie. Which so many people do. You know, and we see it. I mean, and it's like I said, there's so many systems that are broken, and we start compounding on all these systems. Instead of dealing with the root of the problem, we compound and create more and more instead of addressing the real problem. That is another form of manipulation. It's designed to, just like some rabbit holes are designed to keep you ensnared, keep leading you away from what's really on the surface, what's really going on. You know, from time to time, it's fun to go down rabbit holes, as I've done a little bit tonight. No, I don't normally talk about exorcism, not on this channel. But nobody questions things. When we forget to question things, we start taking everything as if it's concrete when it's not. Some things are shown to us or told to us to create that false reality, to manipulate you into believing a certain way, doing a certain thing. When you start doing all these things, you start giving up yourself, so your self identity. And, you know, I talked about the repetition of words like trans or diversity, how they keep throwing it and using it to the point where we become numb to the word because we hear it so much. That is a form of psychological manipulation. That's a form of psychological warfare. You know, I don't think people truly grasp or understand these things. They don't understand when we do like I'm doing a live stream or uploading a video. People don't understand how much power we actually have. You know, in how our tone of voice can be used, how the energies and vibrations as we talk can be used to manipulate people, influence them. They don't realize those things even happen, but yet they'll sit in front of a TV, watch entertainment news all day long and just feed it on it. You know, just like the narrative fake news. You know, it's a dangerous word because, in a sense, what we do is now being interpreted as fake news. We know the difference, but to everybody else, it's fake news. because it's not what's being reported by the entertainment news. They found many ways to censor people, control their thoughts by, if you say this, you talk about this, we're going to shadow ban you, censor. Those are aspects of fear, trying to instill fear that there will be punishment if you do these things, or we're going to bury you in the analytics. All forms of psychological warfare that's meant to control. They want you to follow the status quo. When you become a free thinker, you might as well put a label on yourself and just say, "Here I am, burn me at the stake," because that's the way they treat people that are free thinkers. Free thinkers make other people question things. They don't follow the norm. They don't follow the status quo. They question everything. They formulate their own opinions and views. They share it with others. You know, these things are happening on a daily basis. I've been using the term a lot, information overload, much like sensory overload, which we know is a tactic. It was actually a torture tactic to retrieve information. The same, there's that word, information. The same thing's happening to us on a daily basis, but we don't call it torture. In fact, we don't even call it anything. But you're being bombarded with so much information, so much frequency, so much vibration. It causes people to be antsy, easily triggered, easily offended. You know, but nobody wants to talk about those things. Why? Well, let's look at the world around us. There's so much going on. There's so much that needs addressed and talked about that are happening right now that, with our threats of freedom, our free speech, our Second Amendment rights always under attack. Even more so now. When we talk about all these things, some of the problem is some of the stuff is just so much in your face. Where it shouldn't be so publicized. I got to the point where I will no longer share anything shooting related unless it's self-defense, because that's going against the status quo. They don't want you to see a citizen defending himself and protecting his fellow citizens or her fellow citizens. So why not go against the norm when you see that? Reshare that. This is why our Second Amendment is important. This is why our First Amendment is so important, to be able to talk about these things. To be able to express ourselves, have our own opinions and views, share it with others, make them question things. But that's not what they want. They don't want us ever questioning anything. They want us falling in line and following the status quo. They don't want us to even question 5G. But, they're never going to show you the scientific research on the EMF. Oh, that's paranormal, that's fringe. People don't need to know about that. Well, you might want to know a little bit about it, at least on the aspects of what EMF does to you. Because if you actually studied that, you'd probably be spending a lot less time on your phones and iPads, and you'd be moving your computers far away from your routers. I mean, 5G is a whole nother monster. A monster that we're going to have to deal with here soon because they're pushing it. Just like AIs. Now, here's my little theoretical theory on AI systems. And we're going to keep this fairly simple. Our bodies are considered a temple. It's meant to house our soul. On that theory alone, when you create an artificial structure, whether it be a computer, cybernetics, or whatever, you are actually creating a temple. You're creating something that doesn't have a soul. So it's an empty vessel. That's the word I was looking for, vessel. You're creating a vessel. But it is empty. I know some people say it's not empty. It's got all these computer chips. It's got energy flowing through it. So do we. We've got all kinds of stuff flowing through us. We put out our own energy and vibration and frequency. But we also have a soul. So therefore, in theory, is it not possible for an entity to occupy said vessel? Hmm. And that's not going to fly well with some people, because some people don't believe in that stuff. You know, but those that do, shouldn't you be questioning that a bit more? That's why I found that article by that head exorcist so interesting, since it was recent, to realize that, they're even talking about, there was an actual convention. They're talking about bending the rules just so they can get more exorcists, more priests to be exorcists. That should say something, because they're not looking for more priests to be priests in churches. They're looking for them to be exorcists. But it is an interesting rabbit hole to go down. Because if you think about it, by their philosophy and beliefs, maybe that is why we're seeing so much of the stuff we're seeing today. I mean, it's all manipulation. It's all a form of psychological warfare, brainwashing meant to control people, to make them numb to things. When you become numb to things, you become more susceptible to attacks and such. You know, it seems like we've gotten to the point where kids are no longer kids these days. I question what they're being taught. Very much so. I question what our colleges are teaching our kids. And I know many parents spend a huge amount of money to put their kids through college. And I know many people that went through college are still 10 years after they've got their bachelor's degree or doctorate, are still paying off their education fees. Crazy, right? Where's the notion that, I remember it was taught to me, you need a college education to go anywhere in life, to be able to work on these machines and do this. But yet I've watched firsthand somebody that couldn't read or write run a machine that the people that went to college for it and were trained to run the machine couldn't run it, couldn't do what he was doing with that machine. But yet that person couldn't read or write. What's that tell you about a college education? You know, I've gotten, I try to avoid the trolls. But then from time to time, I like to have a little fun. I mean, we need some fun in life. I really needed some fun in life after the last couple of weeks, stuff I've been researching and working on. I was just amazed at how they will they will consider stuff that I do. That's just propaganda. What? You're calling me a propagandist? Okay, that's new. And then here's the worst part, guys. It was talking about free speech and censorship. That's what brought this about. Conspiracy theorist. Maybe. From time to time, it's fun to go down that rabbit hole too. But then again, we don't call it conspiracy theorists anymore. We call it fake news, right? How many times throughout history do they change the terminology of things and blur the line of reality and illusion? The reality of things is that so many people are walking around in a false reality. They can't tell fact from fiction. They think that because they have a safe space, that they are protected. Yeah, not so much. But that's their reality. Well, then we had let's talk about Trans-Pacific Pipeline, Trans-Pacific Treaty. Then came transgender. But by then, we were numb to the word trans. Then we seen them trying to push laws. Oh, we need universal bathrooms. Now we see people just, guys, oh, I'm a cat, or I'm whatever their imagination comes up with. And if you don't address them by that title, they lose it. I'm like, don't want to really educate you guys on role play, but that's what you're doing. You're role playing. It's not real. It's an illusion. It's a fantasy. And the sad part of it is some of the stuff that they're taking on is stuff that you would find more in the adult entertainment area. And they don't even realize it. Not even a little bit. Oh, you have to address me. I'm a female. Or I'm a male. What do you do? I mean, in some cases, they'll take you to court, or you know, you hurt their feelings. You didn't address them properly, so therefore you harassed them. Really? Wow, do I talk with my hands a lot? I mean, you just have to laugh. I'm sorry. You got to find something funny somewhere down the road because it's downright hilarious at how people act today. I mean, young men are have become more feminine than the women. Same applies for some of the most of the women out there. A lot of the young women have become more masculine than the males. We have a complete reverse order of things. Where are they learning all that? Well, we know some of it's being taught in the school system at the ages of 7, 8, and 9. And it has no business being taught in the school systems. Because at that age, that's when they're most impressionable. That's when you can teach them so much stuff. So why are we allowing our education systems to teach our children false realities, false identities, illusions? I mean, hell, it must be like that Senator Day. Do you believe in the Easter Bunny? I mean, oh wait, some people say they are a bunny. Oh, my bad. Don't want to offend anybody, right? Right? I mean, I could really care less. Maybe you should start questioning things. I mean, I don't really care, honestly. I quit caring about those things a long time ago. It's childish games, but young adults are living it. Our future generations are living it, and they should be falling into the roles of being adults, future parents, future senators, future politicians, police, future our futures. But they're walking around in a reality, a false reality, thinking it's okay. Thinking it's okay to be so easily offended and triggered. It's like, wow. High school all over again? Junior high all over again? Did you guys forget to grow up somewhere? What have you been watching on social media lately? Let me know so I can avoid that spot. I mean, there's so many aspects. And there's so many theories that you can pinpoint to. And there's some areas where they know the truth. They know how these things are coming about. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to hear that because they'll become offended when somebody starts talking about that area of beliefs and practices and teachings. I think we live in a day and age where it's practically to say if you open your mouth, you're going to offend somebody. You're going to trigger somebody. But the worst part of it is, they won't sit back, take a look in the mirror, and question why they were triggered. It's all your fault for opening your mouth, not theirs. You're the boogeyman. You know, that's why I always said I hate that term, blaming it on the boogeyman. When in fact, you are the boogeyman. You know why we create false realities and illusions? Because we can't handle the reality of something. Because we have a fear of that reality. We have that fear that what if everything we were taught, everything that we think we believe right now is wrong? Oh yeah, there comes fear with its ugly little head telling you, oh, you need to shield yourself. You need to put yourself in a safe space. You don't want to question this. So you need to create a boogeyman, something to blame. Something other than taking a look in the mirror and having a good look at yourself and question things. You know, there's no mystery and secret behind indoctrination. It happens every day, been happening every day for everyone's lifetime, in some form, some way. Whether it be through religion, you know, we're not to question anything outside of our religion. Schools, we're not to question what our teachers tell us. We're not to question the politicians, the laws. We're not to question the scientists. Because that's where we get our information. That's where the facts are. You know, my philosophy on the religion side, you know what? I have my own beliefs. I'll say I'm spiritual. But in the end, we might as well stop arguing about who's right or wrong. Because ain't none of us gonna know until the day we die and meet our maker. That's just the facts. That's the reality. Great to have faith. It's great to have belief. They're very powerful aspects in our life. But we should always be questioning everything. If they tell us not to question it, maybe you should. You know, I take when somebody tells me not to question something as a very big red flag. In fact, we're not even going to say red. That thing is glowing as bright as the sun saying, look at me. Or, in some cases, it's blinding you so you don't look at it and you look the other way. And not question anything and walk away. To me, that's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's about learning from each other. When we're having debates, when we're talking and questioning things, we are learning from each other. We are opening new dialogues, new trains of thoughts, new possibilities. And we're becoming more aware to other things around us, other possibilities. So it makes it that much harder to pull the wool over our eyes or mislead us. Which they try to do so much with everything. That's why in reality, there's a danger of information overload. If I can overload your senses, if I can overload the information that you're taking in, I can gain a foothold to be able to manipulate, distract, mislead you because you're so bombarded with so much information that if something sounds like it's the truth, even though it's just a little bit of truth, you'll latch onto that and miss everything else that was said, and you adhere to all that you missed as being true when it actually was a lie meant to manipulate you. Like I have said, the best lie is told with a little bit of truth. Because with a little bit of truth, it's reality. And you catch on to that reality because you know it's reality. You know that part is true. So everything else they say has got to be true. There's no illusion there. When in fact, the rest is a lie filled with illusions that's meant to ensnare and entrap you, manipulate and control you. Those that get triggered live their lives in fear. They are fearful of something. What that is, only they can tell you. But it is a psychological effect. It is a mental effect. They're allowing something to have control of them, to make them fearful. You know, it's gotten to the point where you just can't talk about nothing anymore. Yeah, and I'm laughing because what's the point? If I triggered somebody, I made them question something. I made them think, so am I not doing my job? Oh, there's a funny reality. You know, because the truth is, most of my viewers are all like-minded. I know at some point I'll probably trigger one of my viewers. It will happen. Just know if I do, just take a second and question, why did it bother you? You know, and I enjoy my viewers because I enjoy the interaction in the chat, the live interaction, because as we're talking, I'm learning just as much from you guys as I hope you are from me. Or you could just probably think, yeah, you do that ramblings of the chaotic mind, so you gotta be a lunatic. Hey, maybe. Who knows, right? In this day and age. But I like to think I'm perfectly sane. I'm just not scared to question things. I'm not scared to theorize and talk about things that people don't want to talk about. Usually they don't want to talk about it because it bothers them. It's not something they want to hear. And that's the other reality of things. When you don't want to hear something, that's probably what you need to hear. You see, everything I've mentioned, there's people out in this world that knows this, that knows how to use all this as a weapon, as their tool to manipulate, control people, deceive people, plants misleading seeds to keep everybody so distracted that they don't see what's really going on right in front of them. You know, just like Bilderberg. To me, this is my opinion and view on this matter. It's a distraction. Let's keep it real. It's what it is. The real people that are making all these decisions aren't the people you see. The people you see are the puppets, the showmen, the actors, meant to be put on display for the whole world to watch, or the whole community to watch, and be distracted while other things are going on. Things that they don't want you to see that are happening. But I know when you say that, it triggers people because they think this is real. Oh, you know what? You could be right. I just have a different take on it, a different an opinion and view. There's nothing wrong with staying vigilant. You know, that is important, staying vigilant on things. Because the first time we stop looking at it, would be the first time that, hey, maybe somebody shows up that's never showed up before. So I don't knock the people that get into that. Ouch. Because why should we? There's just so many distractions. I talk about Twitter, Facebook, our feeds, having all this information at our fingertips. But how many people are actually going to see this broadcast? Because it gets buried under what's trending. We've learned from social platforms that if it's trending, it's important. When we should be thinking if it's trending, maybe it's a distraction. And that's not always the case because there is some important stuff that happens that trends. But there's the deception. They know how to use that trending to manipulate people, to distract people. And people don't realize it. I know people that say, for further updates, I'll check my Twitter. Pay attention, I'll update. Well, for that, guys, don't rely on your feed. Go to their page. I personally will never tell you to check any place other than here. If gonna leave an update, it'll be in my comments, or I'll come back on a video and do an update video. And that's with any platform I'm on. If I post something on that platform, that's where the update will be. If I do a live video, I will update the video wherever I upload it to. I'm not going to rely on multiple platforms because you might not get the update because of all the things that are trending. And there's some days where I might post and retweet a lot of stuff or be in communication with a lot of different people. Today was one of those days. So my feed, you might have had to scroll down a little ways before you'd have found an update to something, which I didn't do, so don't worry about it. But that's why I always tell people it's a good idea just to turn it all off, walk away, take a break, go somewhere where there's no nearby cell towers. I live out in the country, so I'm kind of blessed on that aspect. I can get away from all the frequency and vibration that bombards you. I know those that live in the city, you don't have that advantage. It's all around you. I mean, I personally have a lot of knowledge when it comes to dealing with frequencies, energies, and vibrations, how they affect our body, the mind, the psyche. I understand, how music affects us because it's frequency and vibration. I understand how words can have an effect on people because of the frequency and vibration. I have all that knowledge. I've learned those things. That's why I do, in a sense, censor myself because when you have that knowledge, well, with knowledge comes great responsibility. So you're not misusing it or using it because it shouldn't be used in a manner of manipulation. It should never be used to influence another human being. Ever. But yet, we have people doing it all the time. Sorry about that. When you go to your rallies and stuff, protests, there's a reason why there's chanting. There's a reason why there's singing. But they don't tell you the reason. Nobody ever sits there and tells you the reason. Because it creates a vibration. It creates a frequency that vibrates, that can incite people, that can move people. And actually lull a person into a trance-like state to where they're more receptive to being influenced and manipulated. There's a reason why police and military bang on their shields, have a cadence. It's a very old tradition that's been practiced throughout the centuries. They understand the power of music, understand the power in the frequencies and vibration of a music note or a tone. You know, those things are quite much a reality. The reality of it, it can be used to manipulate and create a false reality within a group of people to where they would normally be peaceful. There's just so much we could go into and talk about just on this topic. Just going down some of these rabbit holes. Like I said, from time to time, it's fun to go down a rabbit hole, to theorize, to question, to form opinions and views on matters. Because that's important. It makes others start to question things and think. When you start thinking, you start freeing yourself from a lot of the stuff that you didn't even realize was being controlled and manipulated with, you know. But unfortunately, we're living in a day and age where we're controlled by all these platforms. We can't say what we want to say. We can't speak freely on certain subjects. We get caught in between the concept that, well, I'm talking about religion, race, or any of that. If it goes against another person's belief, then I don't have freedom of speech. I don't have a constitutional right. I don't know where we came up with that idea that we don't. Everybody has a freedom of speech. No matter what they believe, no matter what their skin color, no matter what their religious belief is, they have a right to express themselves. They have a right to talk about it. We have a responsibility, if we don't like it, to walk away, not read it, block them. But they have a right on those platforms. Just like they don't talk about, you always hear the label come up. Yeah, you guys knew I was going to jump the labels here sooner or later. It's only conservatives that's being censored. It's only conservatives that's being shadow banned. It's only conservatives that's being suspended. That's a bunch of BS. They're going after anyone and everyone that does not adhere to the status quo. You know, Here, let me give you an example here. You know why polls don't work? I'll tell you why polls don't work. Because if I know the demographic of the community, if I know how they are, I know what questions to ask that community to influence to make my poll look better than it is. Just like I want to do a poll about Trump, it's going to get great reviews because most of the community I hang around with are great MAGA supporters that back everything. So they're going to react. I have only a few people that are anti-Trump. So it would get a good poll rating. Now, if I take it to the other side, it would be a negative poll rating because of the two separate demographics, the two separate mind thoughts, because of the two different labels. You know what communities pretty much will vote blue or vote red. You can Polls mean nothing. They're the most easiest fixed thing because there's no such thing as a true poll. A true poll would be taking this whole state of Ohio and asking every person that lives in the state of Ohio the same question. But then again, it's an influenced poll. Why? Because I didn't ask the neighboring states that have different beliefs, different way of life, a different voting aspect. So polls mean nothing. But yet people adhere to them, hold to them to such high standards, like they're fact, when actually there's no reality or fact based behind them other than the targeted people you targeted. Now, if you follow everybody, then you might have a little bit accurate, more balanced poll. But that's where the lines get blurred. We're dealing with labels again. We're dealing with another false reality. One, you're human. Two, if you live in the United States, you're an American citizen. You're not a race, a religion. You know, that's where the lines get blurred. That's where the labels start pulling us and start categorizing and subcategorizing and further dividing us because we want to adhere to a political agenda. But yet, we won't question why. Not too long ago, Trump said something that I didn't agree with. And I was very vocal. Oh, boy, did I open my mouth, right? Because the backlash that came. And I didn't care because the fact is, he is our president, but he is still bound by the Constitution. He is to protect the Constitution. When he said something that was going to violate the Constitution, it was everybody's job to speak up. But we have a label, MAGA, Make America Great Again label. Talk about sorcery. Talk about sigil magic. That everybody's so blind to. Didn't even realize what had been created, what had been done. They, oh no, you can't talk about him. He's doing what he's supposed to. He didn't do nothing wrong. No, they won't question. The fact is, our job is to question. We're supposed to be the checks and balances of our government. We're supposed to be the one. Hey, if you violated the oath you took to uphold and protect the Constitution, that's not your job. Your job's to protect it. When he said we'll do away due process, and that's the thing about Trump, he does speak sometimes before thinking. But if any one of us talked about it, man, wow, can't point it out. You guys don't see the manipulation and brainwashing and indoctrination there? When you, because of a label, can't question when somebody does something wrong or says something wrong, but yet because somebody that's willing to question it, point it out, you all attack, time to stop and face reality. You know, that's the danger of labels. They can ensnare you and strip away a part of your identity. We all want to make America great again, and I'm sure those in Europe all wants to make UK great again. I know people in Brazil, they want to make Brazil great again. I know. I have family down there. We all want our countries to be great. But the reality of it is, they've pushed so much division on us that we're so divided. They've pushed so much stuff to where people are so easily triggered or offended. I mean, can you imagine how many people I just offended today, just a little bit ago, talking about Trump and MAGA? But I know the truth. I know what a sigil is. You should research it if you don't. But most people won't because that's evil. Just like most people won't research what a black mirror is, but they stare in front of one all day. That's evil. Oh, wait, I'm evil because I talked about it. I pointed it out. Or I'm a conspiracy theorist, nut, whatever. Nobody steps outside their boxes and questions anything. It's instant judging. Do you know me? No. Do you know what I've lived? How I lived? What I've experienced? Oh, you're a racist. Yeah, well, can't be. Sorry. Well, I can't be. Everybody is. Truthfully, everybody hates something, which is the real definition of racist. Everybody hates something, whether it be a food, a color, a pair of clothes, a car, a label. But in the common terminology of racist, huh, I can't be. I'm mixed. I'm an American Brazilian. But because I talk about white people and that how they've been bashed for being white, how it's wrong to be white, where'd you guys ever come up with that logic? Because there's no reality there. The fact is, we're all human. The fact is, we all bleed the same. The fact is, we all have a nationality. The fact is, our skin color doesn't make us who we are. It's not my personality. It's not my experiences through life. It's just a label that you want to define me as, which does not truly represent who I am because you have not took the time to get to know me. Just like you haven't took the time to get to know that person you just judged. You won't even sit through and listen to what that person says because you've already judged them. Instead of listening, taking a neutral stance, seeing what they have to say. You know that saying, don't judge a book by its cover? Unfortunately, I think they don't teach that anymore because everybody wants to judge off first sight. Oh, I feel this about this person. Which, if you're open enough and open-minded, a free thinker, you might actually be able to feel something like that. But if you are judgmental, then you are closed-minded and, sorry, your feelings have been manipulated. They're not your feelings. They're what somebody has programmed you to think, to feel that way. So therefore, they're not your feelings. They're somebody else's. And therefore, you've given yourself to somebody else to control you. Instead of questioning everything, listening to everything, formulating your own opinions and views. You know, the fact is, we're human. We all make mistakes. We're all wrong sometimes, and sometimes we're right. I'd like to think when we're wrong, we are can put our egos and pride aside and admit it. But that goes back to a video that I did a while back. Know thyself. Most people will let their egos and pride control them, which is just another form of what's the word I'm looking for? We'll just use possession. This is another form of giving something power over you. Something that's going to cloud your mind to see past the illusion and actually see the reality that's before you. So, that's why it's so important to question things. That's why it's so important to find places that respect that encourage that. And they're getting harder to find, you know, because, it's like I said, a true free speech platform, you're going to see it all because that's what a true free speech platform's about. You're going to have every belief, you're going to have every philosophy, idea being talked about. That's what free speech is. That's the reality of what the Constitution states. I don't know where people are, what they're being taught these days. And I hope it's not the video I was here. Watch this. This is what free speech is. The guy talks slow. It was for Constitution induction for young people. Wow. This will shock you. I watched all 3 videos, and all I had to say is if that's what they're teaching our young people today, we got a problem. But it made sense because now I can see why people have such ideas and beliefs that they have today. To where, oh, you're this. You don't have a right to talk about those things. It doesn't work that way. Until our government forces corporations to honor the Constitution and abide by the Constitution, we're going to continue to have this problem. We're going to continue to have this brainwashing, indoctrination, this segregation. This is what it is. They're segregating people that they don't want in that community because they go against the status quo. They want a, let's use the term hive mind, a one mind that controls every other mind type platform to where it's only that information. They want it to be what we're seeing on entertainment news, on our TVs. So nobody questions the status quo. Nobody thinks for themselves. Nobody has an identity, a self-identity, to where they lose all meaning of self. Who you are, not what somebody's told you you are, not some fantasy role-playing aspect of your imagination, but really who you are. Now it makes you wonder, what's the future gonna be like 20 years from now? Will there still be free thinkers out there that question things, that formulate and share their opinions or views? Will there even be a platform left for people like that? I don't know. That's not a question I can answer. I don't have a crystal ball. I'd like to think, because we have still plenty of people that do question these very things and talk about these very things, that there's still hope. But how long before reality sets in and we realize that it's time for a change of tactics? That the ship has long past sailed for hope, which I don't think it has. Actually, I know it hasn't, because there's just too much and too many people out there that are talking about so many different things, pointing things out, trying to continue to show people that they need to question everything. They need to have an open mind to things. You know, because much like I talked about earlier, the importance of having faith. It's just as important to have hope in things. It's important to always look for better things, a change. You know, because in the end, history can always repeat itself. This ain't the first civilization that was built. I mean, look, we can study history and see the fall of many civilizations. And we rebuild right over top of them. Eventually, you think we would get it. Eventually, we would see the repetitious pattern. We'd understand, just from the fall of Rome, what corruption and greed can cause, the manipulation of a populace, the control of a populace, the control of the citizens. It will eventually implode upon itself. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Yes, I know. Probably, definitely not everybody's cup of tea tonight. That's why we call it coffee and chat, not tea and chat, right? Because we all know I'm not everybody's cup of tea. The fact is, I don't want to be. I want to make you question things, make you think for yourselves. That's why I do what I do. Because that's what you need to be doing. You need to be questioning things, not judging a book always by its cover. You know, there's just so much out there that we've yet to even explore or experience. You know, my opinions and views on things may change as I experience new things. Because we're going to keep experiencing new things until the day we die. Sometimes those experiences are going to change some of the things we believed in, some of the things that we thought were realities. But in fact, we realize, oh, it was just because I feared something or I didn't grasp that this was holding me back. Then that false reality comes crumbling down like the illusion it is. Don't be scared of change. Don't be scared to question yourself. That is what is needed. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, something different for a change. Something to think about. That's what it's all about. Thinking, questioning, being your own self. So I will catch you guys on the next one. Like I said, hope the next video probably will be the one I do with the CEO and founder of Worldie, Christina Taft. I'm actually really looking forward to that and sharing that with all you guys. Because I know a lot of you are looking for platforms where you can just be yourself and be free. So, till the next one, I will see you next time, guys. You guys have a safe week.